Hi, Cindy. All right, howdy, folks. Welcome back. I told you I would be back. All right, let's get started here. And while that's loading up, I'd like to thank everyone for taking some of their precious time to be with this precious family. Excuse me. Now, let's get started here. We got a lot to cover tonight, so. What's it, too zoomed in or something? All right. So here we are, May 7th, 2024. All the damage you just saw was from today or from just a couple hours ago in Michigan. Okay. Very bad outbreak in, well, just all over the place tonight. So, what was supposed to be last night turned out to be tonight. So, I was kind of warning you, sometimes these things happen, the day before or they surprise. So hopefully there's not too many people hurt. I know a lot of people suffered some damage, so we got to pray for everybody out there tonight. Okay, starting all over again, May 7th, 2024. Here's your loop playing, okay? You see this spire region right here glowing, right? Guess what comes out of something comes out of that region, all right? So we're going to go ahead and just go through this frame by frame. We don't have all the data either. We're missing like the last 3 hours. So opening frame 024 right here of May 7th, 2024. So now I can zoom up just a tad bit right there to where I can manage the buttons and get most of the frame in there for you. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Hopkinson. Bless you. It blesses you as well as the people who received it. Okay, here's our glowing spire region. You can see the instrument reacting to it. Opening frame. It's crackling, snap, crackle, and pop. And then we have a little jet shoot out of down here. Now you can start to see these little white spikes flowing here. There's something coming out right there. can almost make out there's an object right there. And then, boom, we have this event. Now, it's so whitewashed on this side, it's hard to see. But if you look over here, it looks like we have like our little round, darker shadow right in there. In fact, I'm just going to zoom in on that frame real quick here. And let's pull it on over. Kind of go like this a little bit. And dim it down a little bit. All right. Something going on right in there and right here in the middle. That's what it looks like to me. You can be the judge of this as well. Let me zoom in just a tad bit more so we can really kind of get a better look at it. There we go. Now when I look at my screen, it looks like you can see them both a little bit better there. All right, so there's our objects caught right there. Looks like two of them. One up here, possibly. Definitely this one right there. And then while we're zoomed in here, let me see if I can just do frame by frame. Oh, come on now. I went too many. All right, so there's the frame we started with. There's the next frame. Let me pull this back over. Maybe I'll just let it jump. Wait, go back. Oh, come here. All right, well, that's our best frame right there where we can see it. Let me pull back a little bit here, get us back to normal perspective, brighten it up just a tad bit again. All right, now let's pull over here to the black and white side here as well. Okay, right there's a good one. Looks to be we have one of our objects right here, another one possibly right here. They've kind of combined to create one big magnetic field, or that could possibly be another bigger object back behind it there. It's hard to tell because that's all the data. It jumps from 10 down here to 13. So they cut out the rest of that event, probably because there's some damning evidence in there or something. So all right, there's your activity for the sun right now. We're going to walk through the rest of them. Note, we still have at the end here. All right, we have this little halo or small CME coming out down here. I guess we got a lot more frames than I thought. Okay, there's the end, 21. All right, right here you can see our object. Let me just zoom in on that one real quick for you too. Whoops. Try zooming first, Brian. There we go. All right, pretty crystal clear right there. All right, it appears something else is going on over here. You can see this one down below. It's causing the instrument to react here. It's the one that's kind of caused this leading edge of the shock wave, and then there's a second one back behind it, and that doesn't appear to be a ghost image. That's two of them. Whoops, let me go back. See, you can kind of see them there. All right, well, there's that. There's your sun stuff for the moment. Oh, wait. Now, what I want to do is keep that there. Let's go back and refresh this. I want to see, we need data for the 8th. Oh, dang it, we need the data for the 8th. All right, let's move on over to the solar ham because As you can see here, when I zoom in, whoops, it's one too many right there. That's good. We have just had 3 X.10 flares. There's one right there, there's one right here, and just recently is this one. And if we click on this, hopefully it'll still show it. It's cycling, and the wheel's spinning. It's thinking, it's trying. Yeah, right down here in this little box, it says maximum X 1.0. Okay, and they're talking about this latest one. Whoops, this, can't use the arrow on this one. This little hump right there just barely reached the line. That one did too, and that one did too. 1.0. Now, when we back out of this, let me zoom back out a little bit. I don't know if they've updated this yet. Nope, they haven't. So let's put it right there and talk about this. We have X flare potential at 50%, and for good reason. We have just had 3 X flares within a 24-hour, well, less than 24-hour period. That and there. We have had 3 X flares right there. Okay, we had this one, this big one, just the other day. Okay, just yesterday. And then before that, we had another one. So a lot of X flare popping off. All right, now check this out. All of these were coming out of that big monster, 63, right? 60. Here's 64. Oh, here's 64 again. And look at our latest X flare came out of 36, 64. Okay, this one's the one rotating out of the strike zone, but this is the one that's facing us right now. That one, 3664. Okay, now what I want to do, see, we have the 1.0, the 1.0, and there's going to be another 1.0 right here because we just saw this one. It's yet to be posted. So we've had, this is that X flare, this is this X flare, and then we're going to have another 1.0, and we'll have 3 or triple X 1.0s. Okay, so we have had a lot of activity out of the sun. Look at this. I've never seen this chart just so yellow with how many X flares sitting on it? 4. 1, 2, 3, and then this monster right here. There are 4 X flares sitting on the chart right now. So good reason for X flare potential, 50%. And what I wanted to show you was the 8th, but it's not up yet, you can see. But what I wanted to kind of show you was the closing frame, or the last frame we had available to us. So at this point, at 21:17, there was still another 3 hours to go. But what I want to point out is all the spires that are glowing, all these little needles that are magnetically pointing at another magnetic field. Okay, so we had activity coming out of this region, but this thing didn't. It faded a little, but it's still there. So, and it's brightening up. So I bet you something's about to come out of that region eventually. You know, it might not be the next one. Something might sneak out here first, then that one, but it just all depends. All right. But what I want to point out is our potential for the future, for tomorrow, or from this moment forward, we still have a bunch of needles sticking out, pointing at, possible more inbound encounters. All right. All right. Now let's get back to our chart here again. We're going to have, like I said, another X flare, X 1.0 eventually added to this chart right here. It just hasn't been updated yet. Now let me pull back just a tad bit more to right there. All right, there we go. Now our indices, these ones are starting to climb a little bit. This one definitely jumped right into the red. Okay, so as soon as we started getting, a little more excited right here, this puppy went from 170s that we were looking at the other night, and now it's 204. Okay, so there's a lot of red on the chart right now, a lot of red on that screen. And it's because of these two bad boys, 3663 and 64 now. All right. I'm almost kind of afraid to show you this, but there's 3664. Can I get a zoom in on this, please? Oh, we get a better shot of it in another chart here. Let's continue on. So lifted indices, mega X flare activity. Still, they have nothing on their geomagnetic forecast. All right, they're very optimistic, I would say. Okay, we're bound to get some of this energy. All right, and when I show you the D layer region, in fact, let's just go there right now. Let's go right over to the D layer region. I had this loaded up, but let's load it up again there. Oh, it's playing. So boom, there's one impact. Not sure which one that one was, but let me come along and right about, whoops, there it is. Boom, there's the next flare impact right there. Now we're talking absorption. I'm a stickler for absorption. Are you absorbing that? Are you absorbing what I'm putting out there? So another impact right here. Another slight one right there. Okay. And then this at the previous moment, at the current moment right now. So I've lost count. Let's go back and count, shall we? How many kind of red impacts do we see? So there's one, kind of a second there. See how it dimmed? We can call that 1. Okay, I'm going to be conservative here. Call that 1 and not try to stretch it into 2. But it sure was a little wavy there. All right, come on now. So here's our second. So that's 2, 3, 4. Well, that one 4. Yeah, that's 4. That's the last one. So 4 good impacts right there. That's a lot of energy we just took on from the sun. All right. And I don't think we've even yet to have our first CME impact from our first X flare. So a lot of stuff. And when you see it hitting the earth and causing, R3 radio blackouts like this right now, probably, okay, any kind of CME would probably come our way too, okay, because the light from it hit us, so it has the potential to hit us. So let's backtrack now and come back down here. Let's get into this. We have these two regions, 36 and 64. Both are beta, gamma, delta. Extremely dangerous. I don't think I've ever seen 2 of them like that, beta, gamma, delta. Not for a long time, at least. Our KP, we haven't been taking on a lot of solar radiation as far as CMEs yet. Okay, you see this last little yellow strike was the last major or subtle impact that we had. Otherwise, it's been pretty mellow right now. And you can see our auroras are pretty light, so we're not taking on a bunch of radiation as far as CMEs. We have taken on a bunch of X-ray radiation, though. That's what that is. That's X-rays. That penetrates through the planet. You know how you X-ray your body and it penetrates through? These X-rays penetrate down to the core, too. Where am I going? Going backwards. All right, so yep, there it is right there. There's our article. Okay, a slow rising X flare, a strong R3 radio blackout was observed around AR 3664 now in the southern hemisphere, peaking at 509. A type 2 radio emission with an estimated velocity of 1152 kilometers per second. That's very fast. So based on coronal dimming viewed in the latest imagery, courtesy of GOES, this flare looks like it will be eruptive. Just how large the CME will be and if it will be Earth directed remains to be seen. Dude, you see the location of it, and it's on the southern hemisphere. We're definitely getting hit. It's definitely coming our way. See, we got hit with this already. I mean, if it was way over here on the limb and shooting, way down, but this is right in the region where we're kind of located, below the southern hemisphere of the sun, or below the hemisphere of the sun. Okay, did we finish that? Yeah. So, looks like a flare will be eruptive, and how large the CME will be remains to be seen. All right, no events logged, but we're going to go track-a-lacking anyways. And nothing on this one. Yep, they're not showing anything. Okay, impulsive. Here it is. An impulsive X1 solar flare was just detected. That's the one we were just looking at. The source of this latest X flare was once again AR-63. Okay, so it was this one this time. So this latest X flare that just came off of this one. So the third one here came off of 63, but this one right here came off of 64. That one came off of 63 as well. So we only have this one right here, the 64. That one right there that's really got the Earth component to it. Otherwise, this latest one that just happened came out of 63 up there. So, good. I'd much rather have it coming out of there than right there, right in our face. All right, so solar activity continues at high levels with a number of N-class solar flares detected during the past 24 hours. Okay, that was yesterday's. Let's move on. We did the D layer. Let's come on over here. This is the image I want to pop up. Nope. That will suffice right there. Let me squeeze it all in there while I read this. Don't be surprised if a CME visit Earth this week. See, they're still saying that too. CMEs don't need to hit Earth to be effective. We saw that too. Remember, we were supposed to just get a glancing blow of G1, and it ended up surprising being a G3. So they don't necessarily need to hit Earth to be effective. They just need to be close. A near miss on May 5th sparked auroras as far south as the Czech Republic. Okay, we covered that last night. But high latitude photographers saw auroras between. Okay. Old news. The chance of flares just doubled. Okay, let me get this. Where's my little slide bar? I want the picture so you can look at it, and I want you to remember when we saw this effect not too long ago, we had these multiple polarities in one kind of solar complex, not even a sunspot, it's a complex that they called it. So hang on, let me just get it right there. All right, all these positive and negatives. All right, there are so many different variations. This positive could hit this negative, or this positive could hit this negative, or maybe this positive hit this negative, or this positive could hit this negative. Maybe this positive would hit this negative. This positive could hit that negative, and the whole thing could light up. All right, so there are multiple ways this can connect and fire off, and that's what makes it so dangerous. Now, back to the article. The chances of flares just doubled. There are now 2 dangerous sunspots facing Earth. In the past 24 hours, AR-64 has more than doubled in size. All right, this one right here has more than doubled in size. And it's becoming one of the largest sunspots of the current solar cycle. In its incidence, a magnetic map of the sun's... Yeah, okay, so... Now, the complexity of this, it doesn't have super complexity like we saw that one time, but here we are again with a very, very major complex configuration here and it doubled in size in the 24 hours. What's going to happen in the next 24 hours? Is it going to continue to grow? Because we don't need that. We already have 3X flares. All right. We don't need this thing growing and getting bigger and firing more right in our face. Let's, I'm going to go ahead and pull up that other. You see where it's located? This little insert right here, this, the actual sunspot just shifted up a bit. That's about, well, actually, we're a little further south than that. So, yeah, this is kind of more where we're located. This is facing us right now. That's not a good spot, not a good location to be firing off. So, everybody hold your breath. If you look at this thing, it's got 2 eyes, a nose, and a big old wispy handlebar mustache and a beard. So, he means business. All right, now, moving on. Among the sunspot's dark cores, magnetic poles of opposite polarity are bumping together in explosive proximity. As a result, 64 now possesses a threat for X flares, like its more active cousin 63 in the northern hemisphere. So, you remember how active 63 was, and it just popped off all those M flares and X flares and stuff? This might do the same thing. Do you have eclipse glasses for April 8th? Nope, not left over. All right, so moving on. Very, very complex sunspot region, totally facing us right now. Looks like he's wearing a smile right now. Let's just hope he stays happy and doesn't get mad. All right, move on to the Schumann. Okay, so here we are over at the Schumann. You can see we came out of this grinding event, had a little weakness, came back, started pumping along nice and strong. We had a little bit of little grind, little pop right there, but right back to normal activity. And then just another small little scrape event right there, which tells me pressure built up again and started to grind again for a second. And then we probably had a quick release. It wasn't too much pressure, so any kind of release relieved it pretty quickly. And now it looks like we're going into another little grinding session there again. Let me just get the latest status. Did that refresh? Oh, yeah. See, once we just refreshed, you can see this last little line is starting to glow white right there. And I don't really want to mess up my focus for position 2. It's not much to see, but it appears to be about this size of this one over here, starting to grow again. So we had pressure relieved, went back, had some continuity for a little bit, built up some pressure, it started to grind, relieved, and now we're building up pressure and starting to grind again, which tells me our the core shell boundary is just right there. They're so close to each other that any little bit of added energy will make those heat and swell. The core will expand outward and start grinding. All right. The shell also heats up and it wants to expand outward, but it can't because there's all this magma sitting on top of it, all the weight of all that magma pushing down on top of the outer core. So it's like a ball with a sleeve or a shell that goes around it, right? That'll be the outer core with magma outside of that. The magma pushes down on the outer core, won't let it expand. I'll have to pull up an example to kind of point this out for you guys, but it won't let that outer shell expand outward because there's so much pressure, and the crust of the earth is also holding that magma down and keeping it down on that shell. So the only way that the shell can expand is back downward onto the core that is expanding outward into the shell. So they expand towards each other. One expands down, the other has to expand up, and they automatically start to grind. And when they grind like this, you get these intense low frequency and these radio waves emanate from the surface of the ground. They go out into space, except they hit the ionosphere and bounce back down as echoes. And that's what this instrument does, is it detects the echoes bouncing back down from the ionosphere. Our ionosphere, our magnetic field, is created by that core spinning inside the shell. It's like a little dynamo. It's like a little, those old-fashioned electric motors, that you had a propeller on it and you made a fan out of it. All right. That little electric motor, when you plug it to a battery, it spins, right? Well, if you unhook it from a battery and just spin the crankshaft with your fingers, manually spin that crankshaft inside that little motor, electricity will come out those wires. The reverse process will happen, okay? And that's what's going on here, is our little motor is spinning inside of its little thing, all right? And it emanates out this magnetic field that resonates at 7.83, all right? It hums. It has a hum to it, just like the power lines that or an electrical station has a hum to it. Well, our Earth has a hum to it, and the hum that it produces is a 7.83. Now, it used to just be this one green line going across, and there was no other scraping, no scratching, no nothing. All this graph ever showed was one boring green line for the longest time. Then all of a sudden, this activity started happening, and they're going, hey, what's going on here? Well, it's because the sun, every time we absorb a blast, it translates down to the core of the planet. The core swells into the shell swells back down onto the core. The two grind, and then we have had sessions where they lock up and our magnetic field kind of goes down. Let's just say gets very weak. Okay. The day the Earth's core reversed, started spinning the other direction, possibly, I can show you that stuff as well. Anyways, for the moment, we're going into another grinding session, which is an indicator that we have pressure down below. All right, I know. Blah, 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 blah. Actually, I had some questions in the comments. Sorry I haven't gotten to the comments in a while. YouTube did something to the however they present the comments, because I've been waiting for you guys to comment. I'm like, where the hell are the comments? And they're no longer posted underneath the video anymore. I had to go to the dashboard in the back behind my channel in the dashboard to go find your comments. And I'm like, oh, no wonder why I haven't seen them. So they've been hiding your guys' comments on me. So I'm trying to get to them. And in the comments, people were asking for a little more explanation as to how all this all ties in. Okay, so just kind of going through that real quick. So I already got it set up here. We're looking at our upper jet streams right now, okay? Let the wind hop in there. You can see we have Pacific Northwest coming down, going straight across. We have this, this southerly fetch that's rotating up into here and also getting some from this. So warm, moist air on the southern jet, cool, dry air on this northern jet. And look at this thing spinning around like a gear in a cog, like in a cog in a wheel, and a monkey works or something controlling all this. It's definitely having some kind of effect, because look at this big teardrop cutout that it makes. It takes this energy, shoves some of it up, and look at this. It's just totally taking it around in a circle right there. That's this is our upper jet. It does get wonky at this time of year during spring. So let's drop down to your lower jet stream. Okay, and that turns out to be the central location of our mid-plane storm right there, I think. So let's drop down to the weather. All right, and here we go. So we have this thing spinning up here that's causing this kind of effect right here that's our weather. So this is the center of the storm over the U.S. This one's more up in the northern plains. Well, actually, that's all part of it. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was the central low, and it all went down like this, and now we have a break off, a breakaway spin off low of its own, and a separate one up here in Michigan growing there too. So this is getting very complex. We saw surprise energy up here in Michigan today. Well, not totally surprised, but it was way more intense and way more volatile than predicted. Yeah, yesterday they predicted, a very volatile day, and it was decent. It wasn't what they, thought it was going to be off the hook, but today was the moderate day, and it surprised and ended up being off hook day. So a lot of different places got hit today too. So we'll go over that tomorrow because it's still going. It's still ongoing. So, and then also look at this up here addressing the coastline of Alaska here. All right, so pull back, pull this up, spin it over, and then we're going over to our chemicals. Thank you to our SO2. Actually, I want to do the particulates first. Let's get over here to our sandstorms first. Oh, nothing to see here. Just this huge, massive sand plume coming off of Africa, blowing across the entire Atlantic Ocean. And that's getting pretty dense in there now. It's depositing all this sand on South America. This might behoove some of the hurricane activity this year. We'll see. It might be so strong it'll just pick up sand and you'll have mud hurricanes or sandicanes. All right, little something going on here, starting to build up here in Saudi Arabia again. Let's see these wind patterns. See how the wind's kind of catching the sand and spreading it around. It'll make a barrier, like a storm front almost. We'll have a wall. Well, that's what these storms are doing, is they're picking up the sand, and you have a big wall of sand as a storm front, kind of. And let me just take off the winds for the moment because they're kind of distracting now. All right, now as we pull back, we got the big one in Africa, small one going on here in Saudi Arabia, another one growing up here at the Caspian Sea, and as well as our one here that's been going on at the Gobi Desert for quite a long time now. It was the second one to fire up after the Africa event. Now we have these inbound bodies having a magnetic field, right? Their magnetic field interacts with ours. Well, sand is silica. In silica, the element silica holds an electric charge. When this silica or sand gets an electric charge from an electromagnetic exchange between us and a polar, it could be the sun, it could be any kind of magnetic field. All right, even the Earth. The Earth might be overcharged and is static electrically charging the sand. Just like static electricity, it makes it lighter than air. Maybe not necessarily lighter than air, but much lighter than it usually is because it has a static electric charge. Things. You ever seen my grandma used to have these little boxes that had a plastic lid, and inside was some plastic confetti. And if you rubbed your hand on the plastic lid and built up a static charge, the little confetti would dance down below. They would lift up off the ground and dance around in the air. This is the same effect. We're getting a static charge on the silica sand, and it's starting to become, quote, lighter than air and getting caught up in the wind. And now we're having massive sandstorms during the wintertime. Okay. This thing started in November and went into the winter, all through winter, and is still going strong. I think it faded for maybe a day or something. It was still there, but it faded a little bit for a day. But no, it's right. It's been pumping strong ever since. Where is the media on this? Where's anybody on this? I mean, this is every once in a while we'll get a different wind current, and it'll take some of the sand up into Europe, and then all of a sudden you'll see, ooh, red skies in France today. Well, yeah, just 100 miles south, they got red skies every day. They haven't seen the sun since November. Okay, but no peep out of the mainstream media because this would probably freak everybody out. They'd be like, "Hey, what's going on?" And it screams there's something wrong. To have a sandstorm this big going on for since November, all through the winter. If it was that big during the winter, what's it going to look like this summer? Is all of Africa just going to be one big sandstorm blowing across the whole planet, or what? So, very important that we track this. And another thing I got to point out here, when we're over at this part, we're on, what are we on? Particulates. Yeah. More fuel for water to adhere to and create rain. Okay. So we're adding, not only are we adding our volcanic ash emissions and all the little particulates from that wonderful event, but we also have sand kicking up and becoming other particulates added to all that in the air. Okay. Also, under particulates is SO4. Okay. And we're going to pop over to SO4. Now, it's a little bit different than SO2. It's a sulfur sulfide, okay, but it has 4 oxygen atoms per molecule. All right, so it's SO4. I like to call it sulfur quad oxide. It's like a simple layman's term. So this sulfur quad oxide instead of dioxide, got 2 more oxygen molecules, comes from the ground and also is pollution as well. But that's not why we're here. This particulate is another particulate that's added to all the other ash, all the other sand. Okay. But the ugly thing about this particulate is it likes to bond with water. And we have what? Water vapor in our air. Okay. And this likes to bond with water. And the whole planet's water. We got water all over the ocean. So any kind of water, this sulfate, sulfur quad oxide, likes to adhere to water. And when these two chemicals bond, when mix H2O with SO4, you get a compound called H2SO4, which is known as sulfuric acid. Yes, I said sulfuric acid. All of that is potential sulfuric acid fuel. Okay? All it needs is water to bond with. Oh, wait a second. It's caught up in these storms, huh? What's a storm comprised of? Water. Oh, so you're looking at these acid rain storms that we're getting as well. And it's kind of a runaway train. White denotes the intensity, and it's all over the northern hemisphere. Southern hemisphere wasn't so bad. Antarctica was the one place untouched, but now you can see it's finally made its way down there and it's creeping into Antarctica. So there's no place on the earth now that's not doesn't have some kind of sulfur quad oxide or SO4. Okay. Come back over here again. We're going to go to the chemicals now, to the SO2. So 2 less oxygen atoms per molecule. SO2, not SO4. Pop back to their daytime. All right. So here's China's SO2 emissions now. This is pushed out of the ground because the magma down below, the expanding magma that's pushing outward and hitting the underside of the crust. There's a bottom side of the crust. The earth is much like an egg, okay? And the shell of the egg would be the crust of the earth, right? And when you have pressure pushing from the inside of the egg outward, it wants to crack the shell. I said crack the shell. The pressure pushing up, cracking the shell of the egg causes perforations in the crust, right? and little holes. And that gas, the SO2, which is surrounding the magma down below, the pressure, the gas seeps out through these tiny holes first. Eventually, we're going to run out of SO2 and magma will be coming up through those holes and stuff, okay? And the darker the color denotes more SO2. So here's your color scheme: light white being very light, purple and almost blue to black being maximum. Black being maximum. Looks like they got a big black eye, huh? They got two black eyes. Had to tell them twice. Okay, those are very highly concentrated areas of SO2. A lot of this gas coming out of the ground here in this region. And you can see that it used to be just right. Let me pull back. Used to be kind of this circular blob here in China. It has expanded up all the way up through this region now as well, and down into the Koreas. So gas use having issues as well as all this region too. Coming over here to India, you can see that they have a lot of this gas coming out of the ground. And we'll come over here to Europe. Europe looks, to me, it looks like a side of beef got shot with a shotgun. All right, so there's Europe, and then we're going to come over here to America. I need to adjust to our time now. So there's ours. All right, let's zoom in here real quick, get it all set up. All right, obviously a nation divided. One side is just bleeding out, and the other side is very patchy, hit and miss. All right, so you can kind of pick out your part of the country here and see where the pressure is and where you're having sulfur dioxide emissions coming up out of the ground from the pressure from the pressure down below, the magma pushing up to the underside of the crust. Also, something we need to talk about too: when magma pushes up to the underside of the crust, the inside of the eggshell, it not only, I hate to say this, it melts away that layer, the underside face that's facing like down towards the core. It starts to melt away that rock, and that rock gets weak and gets thin, and slowly the magma down below is melting its way up to the top. It's going to melt its way through all the rock layers and finally reach the surface. And these are all the little pinpoints. These are all little perforations in the crust where it comes out. Now, something I want to point out here. Let's just pick a couple of spots here. 3 tiny little dots. This dot. Well, just for instance, 3 little dots like these guys right here showed up on the coast of California a few years back. And I think it was BP Earthwatch or somebody pointed it out. And everybody took notice. The whole world was like, oh my God, it's the big one. What's happening? What's happening? And now it was 4 tiny dots. And it wasn't even a purple. It was just 4 tiny little dots along the Sierra. It had a little burp. Gas came out of the Sierras, I think it was. Now, look, half the country. I look at the rest of the world, and nobody bats an eye. Nobody even knows. Or you guys know, but not everybody else is too aware of what's going on here. Okay, so there's America right there. And you can see that we've had some pressure build up on our side here too. The coast of South America, when I hold it right here a little bit further back, you see how dark and kind of uniform the whole thing is? Usually it's lighter up here. There's some broken areas, and then it's maybe dark down here. But from this perspective, to me, that line looks like it is all darkened in. We're going to go in a little closer, and you would think that going in closer would kind of dilute that effect, but not really. This whole region is darkened. Okay, here's our fulcrum point that we always go to. It's nice and dominant, almost black, getting pretty darn dark, I'll say. Up here, this one, it used to be 3. This one, and this one. Well, now we got 4. So when these 4 pop out pretty strong, that's an indicator of the pressure in that region is high and it's pushing out a lot of this gas. So understand how that works. Also, the pushing out of this gas relieves the pressure in the area as well. And like this whole region right here that's all dark, it's been dark purple the whole time, really. This whole region has never really changed since all this started. But it relieves so much pressure on this region right here that we haven't seen a big magnitude quake on this boundary, this plate boundary line here. And that's where we've seen the world's biggest ones coming out of here. All right. We'll still see one at the fulcrum point and our distribution of energy right around the fulcrum point, but we have not seen like a major 8 or a 9 come out of this region because we got venting pressure, much like Java does, okay? Now, speaking of Java, let's go on over. Let's go back to their daytime. All right. So you can see it. Here's Java doing its duty. We got a lot of pressure coming out right here. Semaru. That volcano right there, just concentrated area. Our relief valve, okay? It does. It doesn't it look like a relief valve? Because it is. This whole island, okay? And right now, it looks kind of broken up. It's a little lighter in here and down in there. It's mainly this spot and a lot of coming right out of that one. So up here, we see a lot coming out of that peninsula of Malaysia there, tip of Malaysia. Australia is having issues now. It used to be one of the places that wasn't touched by this effect yet, but as you can see, unless you're right in the middle of the outback where the big rock out there, around the other surrounding areas, they're starting to have SO2 emissions as well. Okay, so pressure's high, pressure's on the rise, it's maxing out. We're seeing our instruments starting to grind. We're seeing the core and the shell starting to grind again here, right there. Okay, and then also what I was going to say is, when these emissions come out of the ground, they go up, they hit the ionosphere and bounce back down. We're going to use this as our ionosphere. So these low frequency waves emanate from the ground, they hit the ionosphere and they bounce back down. Well, some are emitting from here and some are emitting from back here, and they bounce up and they come down, they bounce up and they come down. Well, they crisscross when they're bouncing up and coming down, and sometimes the intersections of where these waves cross creates a trumpet type sound in the sky. You know, your skyquakes, your trumpet blasts in the air are caused by the core and the shell of the earth grinding. And that's the echo that you hear. Remember I told you this emanates out, it bounces down and comes back as an echo? What you're hearing coming from the sky, because it's bouncing off the ionosphere, that's what makes it seem like it's coming from the sky, and yet the ground's still rumbling. Oh, wait a second. Ground's still rumbling, and you're hearing it in the sky. Oh, so your mystery booms or your mystery trumpet blasts are no longer a mystery. Okay, it's because the core and the shell are now grinding on each other. All this activity from the sun now has started this activity going on in our core and our shell. Once that activity started, then we started having these weird noises in the sky. Everybody's, where's that coming from? Where's that coming from? And there are different type sounds. But when you think about it, if I could play one, you know, yep, that's what that sound looks like on a chart. So, your mystery booms, your mystery trumpet blasts, no longer a mystery. Mystery solved. Guess what? You guys are some of the smartest people on the face of this planet. Much smarter than a lot of these academia. I have a Harvard scholarship. It's like, give me a break. I went to Berkeley and I tried to talk to their physics professor. He couldn't even answer a simple question. I'm like, what? You can't figure that out? And I'm going to pay you to teach me and you don't even know the basic? Never mind. Never mind. I got this, doc. Supposed professor professes to know a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, sorry about that. Got a little rant there, huh? Anyways, there's your skyquakes. And not every time does it make a noise, but when they crisscross, when we get these strong blasts like this, and it's a long duration one, and you got a certain region where it's really emanating from the ground, it's bouncing up in a bunch of different angles and coming back down, and all those angles are crisscrossing, yeah, you're going to get those sounds in the sky. And they sound metallic, right? It sounds like metal on metal, doesn't it? Ah, because the core is made out of iron or nickel, probably something very dense element down there. It might be a new surprise down there. It might be made out of gold. Anyways, the density down there is very heavy. It's very dense. And when you get that shell that forms around it, that shell could be, how do I put this? It's almost a liquid metal, much like mercury, but imagine mercury under pressure so hard, a liquid metal that's under pressure, so much pressure that it's, well, basically bulletproof. Even though it's liquid, you can't puncture it. The molecules are so tightly packed together that it's basically bulletproof, even though it's water or a liquid, right? So, and that liquid layer would resonate and go, almost like rubbing your finger on a crystal glass, the rim of a glass. Yeah, and that's the same sound that we're getting from the sky. Make sense now? It's really simple stuff, but it's just you guys, they didn't teach you right. They didn't give you a fair shot at all. I'm quite pissed off about that too. The brainwashing of my children. Not too happy about that. Okay, so let's move on with the show, Brian. Easy there, Tiger. You can tell I'm feeling a little bit better. I want to go over to the water now. Let's take a peek at our surface temperature anomalies, or our surface anomaly, or temperature anomalies. Okay. Always starting off over here at our main little center here. Japan, still glowing white hot. Okay. Obviously some kind of vent on the floor, wide open, spewing lava, spewing superheated hot water. The water down below, you got to remember, is hot and under pressure. So imagine steam that has been squeezed back down into a droplet. So we're talking water that can exceed the heat barrier that we have in our atmosphere. Okay. So we're talking water that's extremely hot. Super steam hot, mixing in with the cold water of the Northern Pacific. Okay. And these plumes are getting yellow and they're turning hot. Let me pull up the indicator. All right. So blues and light blues being cool, red being warm, yellow, and white hot. Okay. White hot right there, yellow all through this area. That's Tamumasi right there, the world's biggest volcano. Building pressure, actually leaking a lot of heat somehow. And now we had this little region right here that was growing off the Pacific, and it has see this circular shape down here? I was there the other day. What is going on right there? Almost looks like there's just something sitting over it right there. Anyways, underneath the water here, we have a new region of heat right off the Pacific coast. Okay. And we're in springtime, not summer. So I'm going to do this. Bring you over to your standard surface temperatures. This is what it's supposed to look like. Okay. Maybe a few different variations here and there, whatever, because of a storm. But usually it's supposed to look like that. Not like that. Okay. So a lot going on out there. Okay. Let's come on over here to Taiwan. This region had yellow all the way around it for a long time, and now it's cooled off a little bit. It's back down to red, and, went from yellow through orange, now kind of back to red. You can even see this cold water being able to creep over towards the island now. This little pool of cool water. We got cold water just over here too. So this region seems to be kind of, as far as pressure, kind of calming down. If you look right here, we have this kind of heating up down. It may have shifted more this way now. Okay, and then over here, look at this. In between Africa and Madagascar here. Plume right there in the channel. And then this growing out in the Indian Ocean out there. There's another heat plume growing right here. Couple along the side of Africa. Oh, that's not Madagascar. My bad. I'm too zoomed in. I thought we were looking at the tip of Africa. This is the tip of India and Sri Lanka. My bad. So Sri Lanka, that little channel right in there has a little spot. All right. Nasty spot growing off of South Africa right there. And down at the tip. So, it's starting to spread around the world now. Another indicator of pressure down below. Okay, so do we cover everything I wanted to do here? Yeah, I think we're done here. Let's move on over to our earthquakes now. And start off here, Fiji region, where we see most of our deep quakes start. Going on over, we have 4.3 down at 368. It's about a little more than halfway down. 4.7 at 178. That's about a third of the way down. So neither one of them are our deep quakes. They're a third and 2/3 of the way down, and they're mid-range 4s. Okay, so energy going into the system, we got a 4.7 at 53. Very quiet through that whole region right there. Has been for a while. Actually, we did see a few little quakes pop off of there. Excuse me, but before that, it had been very quiet in there for a while. Over here, off of Java, our relief valve area, we have some quake activity. It's not on the plate boundary, and it's not at the surface. It's a 4.6 down at 105. So we're having deeper pressure being, pressure down below, a little bit deeper down, being relieved down at 105 right in this region, as well as all the volcanic activity in there. Now let's go up this side of the system. We have a 5.1 here down at 49. Coming up here, we have a 5.1 down at 62. Again, with this spot, where was the... Take that down, please. Okay. Oh, excuse me. So, here's our fulcrum point at Taiwan. Let's start right there real quick, and then we'll back up to this one. So, at our fulcrum point here at Taiwan, it's a little lower magnitude than it was yesterday. 4.2 today, down at 20. And then, right here, where we had that heat plume, is... Oh, that is another 4.7 down at 16. So that's a 4.2 and a 4.7 down at 16. 4.2, 4.7. See the difference? Oh, right there, 4.2 in the red, 4.7 where it's more orange and yellow. Kind of just fitting together like a glove, kind of. All right, 4.5 down at 457. Shoot, that's our deepest quake of the day right there. 4.5 down at 457. And up here we have a 4 down at 298. So not a lot of surface quakes today, mostly subsurface and semi halfway down deep quakes. 3.8. And what's that? 4.1. Did anything make it over? 2.7 made it over the hump there. Let's go in real quick here. This is Caribou, California. We need to wait. Yeah, we can, I guess. Cool. 1 day. All magnitudes. Ding, bing. Just jump into the geysers. Make sure they're still geysing. Oh, yeah. These guys are geysing good. And that was our latest quake, 1.5. It's just all small stuff. Just little microquake activity, relieving pressure down the San Andreas. Microquake activity, relieving pressure there. This one's 4.1. Ooh. We got 4.1 right there and 4.1 right there. I don't see much making over the top here. And this was what again? We could still possibly see something in between this quake. I'd like to see it up here at the fulcrum point first. If we got a 4 up there, then we could possibly see 4 energy coming down that way. But this can also creep up that way a little bit too. So Southern California has the potential for a 4. Nothing too big. No, sounding any alarms, but it's just when I see that right there, that makes me think, hey, pressure's still kind of creeping up this way. It hasn't made this fulcrum point, so it's going to continue up. We have the potential to see upwards of 4. I don't think it's going to be anything bigger than that one right there. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Fulcrum point, it's just pointing that way instead. 4.5 down to 10. It's all about perspective. 5.0 at surface and a couple of 5s right there at the surface. Okay. Give me it. 5.1 down 89 and a 5.6 down at 12. So more 89. Oh, that's that Volcano Island. Yeah. Little quakes going on the flanks of this volcanic island down here. This is South Sandwich Islands, Michael, the volcano down here. This is probably on the flanks of Michael, that volcano down there. Plate boundary line, boundary quake, 5.6 down at a depth of 12. Okay, I think, fulcrum point real quick up here. 4.1 down at 94. I love Dutch Sense. He's such a good guy, dude. I learned a lot from him. I agree with a lot of his stuff. Not everything, I disagree on some things, but that's okay to disagree, We can agree to disagree. But very similar in what he does that I do here. These boundaries, these fulcrum points, the real effect, okay? It's not just made up, we're, talking this because it keeps happening and we're getting lucky. No, it's a real effect. And by watching him, I could see what was going on. I knew what was going on down below, and I studied what he was doing. I'm like, wait a second, it's correlating more with my information, and I can see how these patterns or it's the cracks of the eggshell. When you look at all these plate boundaries, oh shit, we got a cracked eggshell, don't we? It's got cracks running all the way around it, doesn't it? And it's on these cracks that volcanoes and earthquakes like to happen. These are cracks in the crust, okay? Faults. There are fissures in the crust. And when this pressure comes up from down below, and it doesn't vent enough and the pressure continues to build, say we're venting fine right now, but that's only when we're pumping along at normal activity and we just got X flares to the face. Is that another one right there on the end? Oh no. Anyways, you get 3 more X flares. Think of what's going to go off then. We're going to see an increase in magnitude because that's pressure exerting from the down below upward. So we would see a jump in magnitude and a jump in quakes. With pressure pushing upward, it wants to find the path of least resistance, which would be a crack that's already there. So your paths of least resistance are your freaking plate boundaries, right? Because they're the cracks in the shell, right? And then when you get a crack meets another crack and a point like this, oh, shoot, a lot of pressure gets shoved right into that area. In fact, I want you to kind of, right there. If you took your finger like a snowplow and were pushing sand along the bottom of the ocean and pushed really hard, you would push a pile of sand right up out of the water. And that's what the island of Taiwan is a sandbar that's been pushed up out of the water by this plate. And this plate, it's almost twisting. You can see the twisting torque motion going on. Energy's coming up and twisting like that and putting pressure right in this little V-shaped pocket right in there. And see that? On the ocean floor is what I'm talking about, this V-shaped structure right here. That's where all that energy just gets pushed right up into this. And you can see how this is all arced and adjusted over time to that kind of torque pushing pressure. Thus, all that pressure creates a weak spot right at that corner. And that's your fulcrum point, the weak spot. And a lot of these, you see these underwater seamounts? There's a little underwater mountain range right here, okay? A lot of them haven't made the surface yet, but if you were down there and you took all the water away, this would be a little mountain range, a little valley in between them. Let's go like that. A little mountain range. You can see some of the mountain tips sticking up through the water. So, it's an underwater mountain range. Seamounts, they're little volcanic seamounts under here. And volcanic all through here. Then, when we look over here, do you see all of these speckled little seamounts? This whole region? There's a lot more volcanoes underwater than there is above water. I'm going to take you right out here. Whoa, pull back. It's right there. Yeah, right here. This whole region is Tamumasi, the volcano. This whole thing right here. Okay, and then it created this weak spot, one big volcano, and then the shift of the orbit or the axis of the planet. Now we were spinning in a different direction, and pressure's traveling this way as opposed to down here before. Okay, and that's a change in the axis of the planet when we had a prior pole shift. Not a flip necessarily, but a good, healthy, 45-degree angle. Maybe 90-degree. So there's that. There's your earthquakes and everything there. I need to take some of this down. We will keep that. So let's come back here real quick. What just happened here? Shoot, we had another one. Please open this up real quick. It would be nice to Yeah. So there's our latest X1. It came down and then almost went back up to almost another X flare there, maybe an M9.8 or something like that, just under an X flare. This second little tiny spike right there. Okay, it doesn't look like much, but we're so close to the line right now. Let me just back out of this. What's our current X-ray? We're at M4.0 right now, and currently climbing. It looks like you can see another absorption event happening right there on the map. All right, so get rid of this one. Hang on, guys. Sorry, if I don't do this, the computer lags, and it trying to avoid as many hangups tonight as we can, and the frustration that comes along with them too. Because then I got to go do all my work and all my homework and work on myself and deal with my issue until I work it out. All right, so we were going to go do the weather now. No, volcano report. Sorry. This volcano page seems to make my computer not happy. And I open it with all the ads or whatever they got going on this page, so works better this way. Santa Guido, Fuego, Popo, Rang. So Requejanes, the eruption continues with the lava infusing from the active vent, albeit at reductive active levels. Minimal changes have been observed. So Requejanes went off, and then it stopped, and then it went off again, and then it stopped, and then we had a third event, and then it stopped. And now this fourth event has been going on for quite a minute now, a few weeks now that Requejanes has been constantly active. Okay. Before it was hit, the pressure would build, it would relieve it. The pressure would build, it would relieve again. It did that like 4 times. Well, now we've opened up such a vent there, such a weak spot, a new perforation or whatever in the crust, that it's constantly active now. So Requejanes is always active lately. Ibu, 10,000 feet, a little higher out of that one. Luatobi, doesn't have one in there, does it? Nope. Ducono, 8,000 feet. Ruang, 6,000 feet. Kilauea, the seismic activity beneath the Upper East Rift Zone and the summit caldera south of the home of the crater reactivated over the past 48 hours. The seismic network registered about 230 earthquakes, of which 140 were located in the Upper East Rift Zone. Okay, so a lot of earthquake activity, still no blast out of it yet, okay, because the earthquakes seem to be venting the pressure. There's like a stopper in this Kilauea. The last time it had a bunch of lava flowing and flowing and flowing, and then it stopped. Well, when that lava stops, it cools, hardens, and jams up the tube that it was flowing through, right? Blocks it all up like pouring cement down it. So now pressure in that region has to find a new perforation, a new line, a new avenue. This is a perfect example. Imagine this article right here is just dirt, right? And you could go up between the A and the F and between the two, and you could zigzag your way up through all this maze to get to the surface. Magma down here, surface up here. All kinds of different routes that you could take going up through there. And that's what I'm talking about. These are the perforations, these little ways, avenues for gas, SO2, to make it to the surface. And it's not always a straight line. In fact, it's never a straight line. It's always very tight and very nook and cranny and come out. And when you go through the dirt, dig down in the dirt, it's packed pretty tight, huh? So for air to make it through tightly packed dirt, it has to, come up through little fissures. If it rains, the water goes down and open up a little channel where, now stuff can flow easier. Okay, so rain also seeps down through the dirt and erodes away little channels reaching down where one's coming up can connect. Okay, you understand how that's kind of working? I wish I had my lab. I wish I had my fucking lab back. And a real computer. Popo, 22,000 feet. Santa Guida, 14. Fuego, Santa Guida, or Sangay, sorry, 21,000. Sabancaya, 25. 25 again. Ubinus, unable to detect. All right, that was just in the 8th. We're going to cover what was today and is now yesterday, the 7th. Ibu, 11,000 feet. Jeez. Luatolo, 8,000 feet. Semaru, come on, 15. Where is it? Probably 14 or 15 out of Semaru. It's, maximum used to be 14, and then it outdid itself and created its new record at 15,000, and it likes to fluctuate between 14 and 15, so probably right around there. Ruang, 6,000 feet. Kettle, 20,000 feet. I know it's just a bunch of 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet, 1,000 feet, but it's every day. This is more ash going into the sky with more sand and more sulfur quad oxide, just particulate after particulate after particulate. Pretty soon the air is going to be mud, not air. There's going to be so much particulates in it, mixed with all the water, and you're just going to have mud for air. Fuego, 15,000 feet. Nevada del Ruiz, volcanic ash advisory issued the following report. Because they're always saying it's semi-active. See, minor activity. See, they still had it categorized. Oh, you guys are turkeys, you know that? I did not want that part. I wanted this one. All right, we're backing out of that. Please, Lord, can we back out of this? Remind me never to click on the read more section. All right. Come on now, you can do it. Yeah, this page is just... Come on, you can do it. All right, reopen it there. We're almost done with that anyway, so let me just finish it off. It's important that we cover the volcanoes now. It used to not be part of the report until the pressures started building up so high that, we're seeing this uptick in volcanoes. So now it's got to be part of the report because we have 54 active volcanoes. It used to be like 1 or 2. Back in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, I think we had 1 or 2. Mount St. Helens went off and the whole world stopped. Shit, we got 54 going off. Well, where is everybody? 20,000 feet out of Popo, Santa Guido, Fuego 15, Nevada del Ruiz, probably pretty high. Purase here in Colombia, waking up. All right, earthquakes associated to rock fracturing continue to be primarily located beneath the crater of the volcano and on its eastern flank. Pressures pumping up underneath this one. Okay, it's becoming more active. Sangay, 19,000 feet. Reventador, again, no OBS, but probably 20,000. Around there, probably. Sabancaya, 24,000. And Ubinus here, please, with 22,000 feet. I think that's it. Yeah, we're done playing that game. Get over here. Now let's do the weather, and then we can get into the spiritual report. Okay, let that load up. While we're letting that load up. So, very, very violent tornadoes today. It wasn't the higher hatch risk. It was a 10% hatch risk, which is still very, has the potential. And today's tornadoes really took off today in Michigan. and then went down into Ohio and Indiana, and Illinois. I think there was some back in Missouri. So let's back up here a little bit to our current conditions. All right. And I could show you Venture Sky, but we're just going to do this forecast. All right. So, our current conditions, we still have this very dangerous, very volatile storm. A lot of the tornadoes have died down now, but there are still very strong, severe thunderstorms with large hail, high wind. We're talking power outage. We're talking put your car in the garage, hide it buried underground. There's large hail out there. It'll total your car, and you're going to wish you'd put it in the garage or um, put it in a parking garage downtown and take a cab home or something. I don't know. All kinds of different ideas to hide your car from large hail. So large hail, high wind still going on. Occasional tornado. Every once in a while there's a spin up. Now in the morning you see how this breaks apart, and that's what they're talking about, is having a southern branch that's going to drive down this way and a northern one. So we're going to have a split thing like this tomorrow during the noontime. There's convection, so this latter part's going to start shifting up here by the sundown convection, and then it's off to the races again, just like today. All right. So tomorrow we're having a late convection, early evening, evening time event, even traces down in the southern tail in the morning hours. Again, that's convection tomorrow. Nighttime tomorrow. So Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, back up here into Michigan again, Minnesota, Iowa, anybody in that region right there. Okay. There's some better hatch risk maps. I should have gotten those. You guys have some other weather channels that you look at. Go look at some of these risk maps for tomorrow. This whole region right here they're calling for. So I have to go find one and look it up. It wasn't really. I just wanted to do the forecast and move on. So, nighttime again, nocturnal, very strong tornadoes again tomorrow. Some of them can be long track, very devastating. The ones we saw hit today were just kind of shocking how fast they moved through. And what was the town that got hit today? And when they were in there rescuing people, digging them out of the rubble, a second tornado went right down the same path. I mean, not 10 feet to the left or 10 feet to the right through the same area. So it's getting dangerous with these multi-track tornadoes. One goes over you, you're not done. There's another one brewing just south of you coming right after that one. I saw a formation today with 4 vertical storms pointing down like this. Each one had a tornado. This one was super strong. The next one was second strongest. The third one was forming, and you could tell that the tail at the end had rotation in it, and they all went through their cycle. So we're talking multiple storms, long tracks, and multiple storms tracking along the same line. That's what gets dangerous, because you think the tornado's passed, you can go out and do rescue efforts and, remove trees and power lines, and you're digging through an apartment building trying to save somebody. You don't know that coming down the street is a second tornado. So it's of ultra importance that you're always aware of your weather, current conditions as you go through the course of your day now. If you live in this area, it's a must. If you want to live. I'm just saying, it's getting very important now. We're seeing a lot of damage, a lot of people getting injured, a lot of property loss. So it's time to pay attention. So nighttime, tomorrow night, going to get ugly. There's the morning hours of the 9th. Noon, it dissipates. At convection, it's the tail end now. Back here in Texas and Louisiana, that's the day after tomorrow. Convection, there's the day after tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we got it up there. The next night down here in Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and this even goes over across into Georgia, I think. Yeah, as we go into the morning hours there. Also, it's not showing anything severe, but these days, if we have added energy from the sun radiation hitting this at the same time it's blossoming during the daytime, it's over. That's what happened today. We got hit with some inbound energy or something because they weren't predicting. Um, well, the frames before this, it was a lot more. It was a lot stronger than they were predicting today, and the hatch potential was what 10%, and it ended up being a bigger day than yesterday. So it's very hard to nail this down now. It's so volatile. So at this point, tomorrow night, everybody should have their weather app open. They should be watching like Ryan Hall, a storm chaser. There's Max Velocity. There's Nate Snyder. There's a few guys out there that are able to do the storm tracking and reporting so you can follow along. There was issues again today with NOAA weather radios. So if you're counting on your NOAA weather radio, what happens if the system went down because it hit Norman, Oklahoma, and took out their broadcast center? You're going to have to rely sometimes on either your local news, your radio, or these storm chasers that are on top of it. That's going to possibly be bigger tomorrow. All right. What I really need to do is go back here. Just real quick. I want to see what came off the sun. Tomorrow's going to be the 8th. Let's see what happened on the 5th. Typically 3-day travel time. So I like to go back. Oh, we don't have the 5th because we have the 8th. Oh, what? Come back here. Give me that back. All right, just 1 second here. I think I know what's going on here. Secondary page. Yeah, there it is. Out of there. All right. Oh boy. Are we going to have images available? Oh, we got 33 frames of the 8th now? Ooh. Kick back, relax, guys. Let's check out our X-Flare. Booyah! Oh, that almost looks like... Okay, quite the event that we got here, huh? I wanted to see, okay, we know that we had X-Flares on the 5th because that's the day that the data is kind of missing. So the 8th on the weather report here. So the 8th here, we could possibly have added energy to this nighttime nocturnal event. That's the point I was trying to get to before I got another tangent there. So nighttime tomorrow night, inbound energy could possibly bombogenesis this a little bit, okay, and intensify it like it did tonight. And that'll be the morning hours of the 9th, and then finally dissipating by noon. The next round will be right on the tail of that. As soon as that dissipates at noon tomorrow. Wait. Well, that's tomorrow. Then going into the next morning, it dissipates tomorrow or that day at noon and then fires up severe weather again back here in Texas. And there's your nighttime event again. So back-to-back nighttime events tomorrow night and the night after that down south here. So everybody in these regions, beware. Watch it closely. It's serious. It's getting scary. I'm looking for our next semi-important event would be right there. There's the nighttime of the 11th, going into the morning of the 12th, noontime, and then convection of the 12th. Even a nighttime event, the 12th. So we have the 8th, the 9th, and the 12th. And that even goes into the noontime of the 13th. So there's the nighttime of the 12th, morning of the 13th. Really broad and widened out there at Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, right there at that junction. Come back here, you. Morning of the 13th, noon, convection, nighttime of the 13th. All right, so that could change. It might do something different. This could change too, but so far, those are our main events. Anything after this is kind of just okay, will change, but look at this. They're forecasting this double low could join forces into one, and then look at this twisted mess. It starts driving stuff, twisting and spinning it. So it's torquing and spinning it at the same time. So we got severe weather on the backside right here into Colorado, Kansas line, up into Minnesota, Iowa, and then streaking back down through there at the convection. Then by nighttime, it blossoms again. These are very dangerous storms. They're nighttime convecting air mass collision so hard that it makes the other storm spin. I mean, imagine I took my little pointer and hit this storm so hard that it made it spin. These updrafts, this moisture that's coming up like this to meet the storm, slams into the storm so hard it causes the storm to rotate. So we are having straight up collisions that are causing rotation just by their sheer impact. It's not the two storms forming together, joining forces to be a big, strong muscle. No, it's the sheer impact of it hitting the tail end of the car and pulling a pit maneuver on the storm and making it spin out. It's a new type of weather. This is weather that you will see a rotation as a storm starts to form. Before you even see the hook here, you'll see the rotation start to pop way up out here. Before the storm has even hit, the rotation up high is so intense that it's reaching out in front and planting a tornado way out in front of the rotation that's up higher. It's getting very, very volatile. So right there is going to be the nighttime of the, what, 15th did it say? Yeah, 15th. 8th, 9th, 12th, 15th, 16th. Look at that. Oh, I pray that doesn't happen. Everybody pray that this changes by May 16th, because that would be the morning time. Oh, dear Lord. That's convection. Nighttime. Morning time of the 17th. Noon of the 17th. Convection and nighttime. Okay, so you see our events, the 8th, 9th, 12th, 15th, and 17th. Even the 16th here. Because there's the morning of the 16th, noon. We have severe weather, noontime the 16th going up there. And this one looks small, right? It looks like the, it's not the big old nasty, mean, powerful one. Watch out. This is the one that'll probably be bigger than all the, this silly little thing could possibly be bigger than that big old monster. These days, you never know. So take every little thing that you see, take it with, some that it's important. Take the weight of it. That's what I meant to kind of say. That's a little scary right there. The nighttime of the 15th. And then nighttime of the 16th. Whew. Nighttime of the 17th. Oh, it's gone. So it was 15th, 16th, 8th, 9th, 12th, 15th, and 16th. That we all need to kind of keep in the back of your mind in case you get preoccupied with something going on in your area and you don't have a chance to catch on the news. You could go, what's today's date? The 8th, 12th, and he said the 8th, the 9th, the 12th, and the 15th, 16th. So all of those days, at least you got them in the back of your head. Okay. For those of you who can remember that long. All right. So very, very dangerous, volatile weather. On some days, the hatch risk is lower and it turns out to surprise. Other days, we have these high percentage hatch risks that still perform. Don't get me wrong, it didn't disappoint. Well, it just underperformed the expectations. It was still dangerous. We still saw lots of devastation, injuries and stuff. So just because it didn't meet the weatherman's expectations does not mean it did not do damage, injure people, and just all kinds of chaos that this stuff is creating now. All right. And it's important that it's like being on a battlefield. If any of you have been in combat before, it's like being on a battlefield. You have to have situational awareness all the time. And when you don't, there has to be somebody else standing guard who has that situational awareness for you so you can sleep or look away or, do something, other than, paying attention. So maybe little plans for your family. You got kids that stay home all day. They can watch the weather for you while you're at work. They can call you when the tornado's coming. You got an uncle or somebody who's, into this stuff. They can call you. There's all different ways of trying to make this work because it's important that we make this work. And there's lots of weather reporters out there. You need to go search out them too because I'm just giving you the basics. There are other maps, they're much more complex, they have a lot more detail and are a little more accurate. Okay, so I just give you the basics, and if you want deeper details, you know who to go to. There's other people out there. You guys probably all have your favorites. I'm sure you do. Okay, so I think we're done with all of that. I need to get back here and see what's going on because we are kind of currently... Well, they do live tornado forecasting. I'm doing live X-flare forecasting, and we're currently 204. We just had this X1 right here. The second little bump right there is almost... Oh, wait, what does it say down here? Maximum M4.5. That could be this one, though. I should have gotten it earlier. No. The end is a 3. So it says the end was an M3.1. So that's that last little bump. So the M4.5 is the second one right here. So we had the X1 and now another M4.5 and M3.1. I mean, we're floating in M territory. So no matter what happens right now, it's going to be an M something. Right? Because we are in M region. We are currently at M4 right now. 4. M4 is our X-ray flux right now. We're fluxed. We're fluxing at M4. All right, and it's very close. All it takes is a little heartbeat, just a little mouse fart to shove it up over an X class right now. That's how high our indices are lifted too. All right, so, and we're currently absorbing something. Let's come back over to D-layer reabsorption map. Maybe reload this because we might have even more fresh data on there. Oh. So that's our latest X-flare right there. Kind of going backward through time. That one's another impact. There was another impact right there. So we had 4 impacts today. Okay. All right. That's it for our space weather, geophysics, astrophysics. Now it's time to get on with the metaphysics. And let me pull some of this stuff down and reload for that show. A good time to go to the bathroom or get a drink while I get reloaded for our spiritual report here. Come on now. And, oh, also, I got some other stuff for you guys, too. We were working on a little step work, right? Now, step work is important. You don't need to be an alcoholic or drug addict to do step work, okay? It's what is basically a code of life to live by. It's a little instruction book on how to live, all right? It happens to work well on people recovering from alcohol and addiction and stuff, but it's also, well, it's something that should have been taught in school. It's a way of living that wasn't instilled in school. Well, that's not what I wanted. What am I doing here? I got better than that. I wanted this one. Sorry. Pulling up several different images tonight, so you can go ahead and just get all comfy, and it's going to take me a second here. But we're going to go through the 12 steps, and I'm just going to explain them. And I know some of you guys were doing your work, and you were at step 4, and I'm going to explain step 4 a little more for you after that. But in the meantime, let's get us some pretty looking pictures. Some pictures of hope. Bring hope and peace. Okay. That's Jesus pulling open his shirt and pointing at his heart. Here's his heart. He's exposing his heart, and his heart's radiating out these waves, creating my face in the sky with a crown over it. Okay? But we're not worried about my ugly mug. What we're more worried about, or the image I want to focus on, is our Lord and Savior in the background there, wearing sunglasses. He's that cool. All right, now we're going to pull up other stuff. Okay. And now we're going to pull up a couple little other things. And it's important that you guys understand these images are real, and it's not until you capture your own that you truly believe me. You're trying to take my word for it. Oh, I believe you. I believe you. Now you don't know. You believe me, but you don't know until you capture it yourself, and that's when this show takes on a whole new meaning. There we go. Yeah. Hang on. We're getting there. You guys are patient, so thank you. We're learning patience, aren't we? It's a virtue. It's good to learn patience because, well, good things come to those who wait, huh? All right. There's my ugly mug showing up next to the sun. Okay, and I was talking with somebody about that, and they're like, what's going on there? How's that? Your face next to the moon, I mean? I said, yeah, it's a long story. I've been through a lot. It's a long story. And some of you were here for it the other night. I kind of redid the dot to dot a little bit, went through the history of, well, what my journey is, what I've been enduring. And as far as going to doctors and therapists and media and law enforcement, and not a single person believes because they won't come over and look. Imagine if they came over to this channel and looked. Then they might hear me and go, wait a second, you're telling me the truth? Yeah, that's what I've been trying to tell you. I've been capturing Mary and angels on my security cameras, and I got all this paranormal stuff happening to me. It's happening all around you, but it's physically happening to me. It's a huge difference. It's so scary, so unnerving. Imagine, imagine if you saw your face out by the moon. Everybody was recording your face out by the moon, going, "What the hell's going on? Why does this weird face keep showing up all over the place?" And you're like, "It's," and you know it's you. You recognize your own face. How would that make you feel? Would that drive you nuts or what? I'm glad this is happening to me and not you, because most people would. I can hear most people going, "Oh, I would die for that opportunity." No, it's not what you think. It is excruciatingly painful. Spiritual, physical, and emotional torture, all three at the same time. You guys probably get a little taste of one here and a little bit of one there. Very rarely would you have all three at the same time. And for me, it's every day, all day. So I'm glad it's kind of happening to me, not you. All right, we got this image as well. So important. I cannot stress the importance of this series of pictures. This series of pictures almost cost me my life. My heart was racing so hard holding up the camera to get these last few images here. I basically collapsed down onto the ground while still holding my phone up, laying on my belly. And my kids are like, "Dude, what are you doing?" Well, you don't understand. I can't explain it to you now, but as soon as I'm done getting these last few pictures, I will catch my breath and try to recuperate. So, very important. Jesus with his hair flowing back, wearing a crown, turning into a lion face, happened on Easter. The dragon showed up the day before in the same spot as kind of a little indicator of, hey, maybe I should come back here on Easter tomorrow and see what I capture. So like a little hint, a little indicator to, possibly go back to this spot and try again, especially seeing how the next day was Easter. And I was rewarded. I actually captured probably the most important information in the last 2,000 years. It blows every headline out of the water. It's earth-shattering news. It's way beyond any headline. If this headline made it around the world, just think how the world would change. So maybe it's kind of a good thing that we got this exclusive little family here. So we got that, and we got Jesus here. And what was the other one I wanted to do? The face, that one. The big face? There it is. Oh, we don't need that. Okay. So we got three images. We got the face. We got the heart. And why won't that leave? Go. Get. There we go. All right. So we got our three images. Yeah. All right. And there's more. I mean, these are just the best three, the easiest to see. They're more gentle on the eyes. I showed you the other one from the, over Italy. But that's a face that most people don't like to see. Face I reserved for the enemy. Alrighty, so let me get all dialed in here. And we're going to do just real quick some of the step work. I'm just going to explain it 5 minutes real quick here, and then we'll continue on. So the 12 steps are pretty easy, and everybody associates them with drug abuse and alcohol. Well, it's actually can be used for anything. A lot of us, our issue these days, and you're going to have to dig deep and find it in yourself. Our latest addiction is addicted to phones and addicted to the negative media. The media is a organized criminal organization of liars that perpetrate all the lies that your life is. Your life is all one big lie because you were educated and you rely on the media. And that paradigm, they have a mass psychosis going on in the whole world. 95% of the world's mass psychosis. They're stuck in it. All right. And it's an affliction. All right. much like addiction, it's a affliction. So we can remove the word addiction and put in the word affliction in any one of these cases. So it works for phones. It works, hey, whatever your issue is that you want to deal with it, you use these steps. Okay. And the first step is awesome. First thing you have to do is it says, step one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, drugs, media, negativity. All right. Just insert any word you want where the word alcohol is. So I'm going to remove that word for a second. And we admitted we were powerless and that our lives had become unmanageable. Well, you can't control the world. You are powerless in this world. You cannot control everything, right? So you have to admit that you're powerless over the world, or you're powerless over the wanting to find the media and look at the negative news. First, you admit that you're powerless over that, and that your life has become unmanageable. Has this made your life unmanageable? Is it occupying your mind so much that it controls your day? If it does, like the media or whatever issue, if it controls your thoughts throughout your day, your life has become unmanageable. This thing is managing you instead of you managing it. Okay, so you have to admit, first you have to kind of look at yourself, evaluate yourself, and admit, yes, I'm powerless over the world. My life has become unmanageable. I can't pay all the taxes and all the bills, and I can't pay for all Ukraine. Sorry, just can't do it. It's unmanageable. So just that first, just admitting, realizing, and just kind of confessing to it. Okay, that's pretty easy. I admit I'm powerless over the world. I'm powerless over my phone. I admit I'm powerless over the thing that makes your life unmanageable, the idol that has built itself up in your life. All right. So just admit that you're powerless over it. That's all you have to do. It's not that complicated. Just see it. And if you think you have power over it and you're not ready to admit that you're powerless over it, go try to gain control over it and find out that you are powerless. A lot of people won't admit it until they physically find out that, yes, I am powerless. I can't control the government. I can't control the militaries. I can't control the media. Okay? So once you've admitted that you're powerless, then you have to come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. See, you have this mass psychosis going on, all right? You didn't know it, but you were insane. Before you came here, you were insane. And if you still haven't figured this out and you don't trust me, you're probably still insane. So, step 2, come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. And this is where people go, well, I don't want to do the God part of the power. All right, a power greater than yourself. Well, there's all kinds of different powers out there that are greater than yourself. A group of people have more power than you do by yourself. So, like in AA, for instance, the group has more knowledge, has more experience than you do. So when you recognize that, you come to believe that a power greater than yourself, okay, that's where you can apply this now. Definitely this power greater than yourself. That's the one you're supposed to apply, okay? So you came to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. Do you believe that I can restore you back to sanity? Or do you think that you've got it all together and that you're sane and you know it all? Because if you do, please spell it out for the world. Otherwise, you got to come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. because you're insane. You were raised in this school system. You were taught a bunch of lies. You live in a world of lies. This whole world is lies, 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 lies. There's only one truth right here. Everything else is lies. So, in a world of lies, the truth sounds crazy, doesn't it? Because you're so used to hearing lies, 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 lies. That's all you know is lies. So when somebody comes along and gives you a little bit of truth, you're like, what the hell is that? I don't even recognize what? Yeah, you in a paradigm of lies, and I'm trying to rescue you from it. So you've come to believe that a power greater than yourself can restore you to sanity. Okay? Then, once you've come to that part, then it's time to make a decision. Are you going to make a decision? Because in step 3, you make a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God as you understand him. Okay? Well, Jesus, God, as you understand him. So, have you made a decision yet? In this process, have you already completed 1 and 2? You should have by now. Everybody right now has already completed this one. Also, you've made a decision to turn your will and your life over to the care of God. You have. You've made that decision. You're here at this channel, watching it and listening to it right now. I would say you've made that decision. In fact, I know you have, because you're sitting here listening to me, even in replay. Now, we have already completed the 3 steps. You're already at step 3. What? I thought we weren't even going to get into this tonight, Brian. All right, now, step 4. This is where we left you guys off at. You've completed 1 through 3, and all of you should be making a searching and fearless moral inventory of yourself. Now, it doesn't have to be a big old long list, and maybe you don't feel like writing it down. Make a fearless searching of your moral inventory. What is your moral inventory? Is it okay for some things to slide and other things not to? Do you find it okay to lie here and lie there, and other people lie to you and you don't mind? Where's your boundaries? Search yourself. That's the best part. You guys are going to find out who you are, because you don't even know who you are. You're insane still. We got to bring you back to sanity so you can find out who you are. So, be honest. This is the most important part about this, and it doesn't have to be all your negative attributes. It's your positive and your negative moral code. And search fearlessly. Be honest with yourself. Don't lie to yourself. You only cheat yourself. So be brutally honest. No one knows yourself better than you do except for me, because I know you better than you know yourself. All right? So be honest with yourself. Make a thorough, fearless, moral searching of your inventory, your moral inventory. And it's fun to write them down. Sometimes one will pop up when you're driving. You're like, ooh, I got one. All right? And we're looking for character defects, all right? Your character defects. And if you think that you're doing pretty well and you're practicing pretty well and you don't think you really have too many character defects, it's going to be hard to do that list because, it's kind of hard when you're a good person to spot your own character defects. So if you want a list of your negative character defects, ask your best friend. They'll be more than happy to tell you. Okay? They will be more than happy to tell you, oh, man, you snort at night, you do this, you pick your nose at the stoplight. All right? So if you're having problems with that part of the list, just ask your best friend. They'll be more than happy to help you with that part. But also your positive attributes. Are you honorable? do you hold your word? Like when I say I'm going to do something, it's good as gold. You can consider it done. I don't even have to have a handshake. My word is good as gold. So when I commit to something, it's good as gold. That's one a moral fiber, a moral code to look for in yourself. Do you have that? Honestly, do you? And if you don't, then that's okay. You write it down on the list, right? Then once you got your kind of your list of your good and your bad attributes, then we get to step 5 and you admit to God, to yourself, and to another human being all those character defects. Okay? So you pray to God and you say, God, I'm a sinner. I smoke cigarettes. I drink. I'm a womanizer. I cheat on my wife. I do this. I've done that. I stalk little kids at school and try to follow them home. What is the real thing that's going on in your head? The real things, not this fake stuff. What is your real thing? All right. Then you admit it to God. Then you admit it to yourself. That's the key. You need to understand that you've been living in denial of your own issues. So you need to admit to yourself, yeah, I smoke cigarettes, I drink, I womanize, I do this, or what, women, you have issues yourself too that go along the feminine lines, okay? So, step 5, you admit to God, you admit to yourself, and you admit to another being the exact nature of your wrongs, which is your character defects. And the moment you do that, a big weight comes off your shoulder. And if you're telling it to the right person, they'll go, hey, you know what? I did the same thing. I know what you're talking about. I was doing the same thing. And then I found help right here. Oh, you're doing the same thing? You're finding help right here too? Oh, well, you're going to heal just like me. All right? So once you've done step 5, you've made your list on step 4, you admit it to God. Look in the mirror and admit it to yourself. That's what you really need to do. Stop lying to yourself. Be true to one's self. Okay? So admit to God, to yourself, and it helps to admit it to another human being what your character defects are. Because it relieves that stress in your head. Okay? And you've already done step 5. Okay? And then we'll get to step 6 here. So once you've admitted all that stuff, you've confessed your sins, the relief comes. Now you are entirely ready to have God remove those defects of character. You're at step 6. Now you are ready to have God remove these. When you're ready, when you are entirely ready, then you are ready to have God remove these character defects. Not you. You're not removing them. God is. Are you ready for him to do that for you? Do you think that it can be done? I know it can be done. So, are you ready? Are you ready to have God remove these defects of character? Do you want them gone that bad? How bad do you want them gone? Are you ready to have God remove these character defects? Because when you are, you've done step 6 and you're entirely ready to have God remove these character defects. Okay? Then, once you're ready, all you do is you humbly ask him to remove your shortcomings. Humbly ask your Savior to remove your shortcomings. Has to be humbly. You can't just, hey, do it, man. Do it, and I expect it. No. This is all about being humble. When you finally learn how to be humble, you will be at peace. So, humbly ask God to remove your shortcomings. Okay? Once you've done that, you've made a lot of progress. Now it's time for some work. It's time to make a list of people that you've harmed in your past and become willing to make amends to them all. All right? The term willing. You got to become willing to make amends. You ripped off your ex-wife and you took all the money and the house and the car. You got to be willing to make amends for ripping them off. If you, whatever your issue is, you need to think of all the persons that you've harmed and make a list of them all. Try to make a list of the ones that you can recall. All right, all of them that you can recall. It doesn't have to be every single one throughout your entire history, but the ones that bug you, the ones that you can recall. Make a list of those people that you've harmed, those relationships you've broken, and become willing. Right now, all we're looking for is just the willingness. So you make a list and then become willing to make amends to them all, or try to make amends. All right. And when you're making amends, it's to sew that relationship back together, but it's also for you. It's to fix the damage in your soul. So when you're making amends, it actually makes you feel better that you've cleared up the old dirt. You've smoothed out the bumps in the road that you ruined a relationship. So it's time to go back, go through your head, make a list of people that you think you've harmed. It should be obvious by this point when you've done these steps properly. You know exactly who you've harmed. So you make your little list and try to make amends to them. And not everybody accepts amends. All right. You try to say, hey, I stole $40 from you and I'm going to pay you back 50. And they say, you know what? I don't want the interest. I just never want to see you again. Okay, that's fine. Don't get hurt. It's about you trying. You were willing to do it. Now you know inside yourself, hey, at least I tried. That's where we're going. We want you okay in your head to know, hey, I tried to make amends with them. Most of the time people say, hey, just don't do it again. It's all good. And you move on, right? Then, once you've made your list and you're ready to go out, you make these direct amends to such people wherever possible, and except when doing so would hurt them or others. So, you got to evaluate. If I make amends, if I tell my wife I cheated on her, is that gonna make amends, or is that gonna injure them and do so to others? So when you run into that dilemma, it's important that you pray on it, isn't it? Yeah. So while making direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or other people. Okay. You can't make amends by doing something crazy, taking them in a sports car going 100 miles an hour, because you could injure them or others. It's different. We got to do it properly, right? As long as you're trying, it's for your own mental health. Okay, we're almost done. We're at step 10 here. Explain them real quick, and then we'll get to our reading. And we'll keep checking back in on these. Where'd my 10 go? Dang you. That's so many notes. All right, so once you've made your amends, now at step 10, you continue to take your personal inventory, and when you were wrong, promptly admitted it. Okay, so now you've confessed all your sins. You're in the process of making amends whenever you bump into somebody that you need to. Okay, and each day when you're getting up, you're doing a small inventory in your head. Okay, and when you get in a confrontation with somebody and you see that you are wrong, you're in an argument and you know you're in the wrong, stop and promptly admit it. for your own mental health, not for the other person. It's not for them. It's for you. Because when you are wrong and you promptly admitted it, it smooths out the water and you're not sitting there stressing about how do I continue that lie. So it's important now that you admit that when you're wrong, which is hard. You don't see many people doing that anymore. And then also, you got to be willing. And then you continue to take that personal inventory and you admit when you're wrong. Okay, and that'll stop a lot of arguments and stuff too. All right, then we're almost done. We're at 11 right now. So I'm just doing this because not everybody here has been through AA or Alcoholics or even knows what the steps are or what they say. So I'm just going through this, okay? Now, step 11 says, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. Well, that sounds pretty much like what we're already doing here. Sought through prayer and meditation. Well, that's kind of what we're doing. This is prayer and meditation. To improve your conscious contact. Well, you're listening to me right now. That's improving your conscious contact, I would say. Now, you just do the praying for knowledge of His will for you and pray for the power to carry that out. So you're praying for knowledge and power. You sought through prayer and meditation to improve your relationship with me. Okay? So through prayer and meditation, our relationship's grown strong. Now you're praying for knowledge and the knowledge of my will and the power to carry that out. Then the last step, and you will love this part because it's pure magic, and it really is. Step 12, once you've made it through all of these, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to other people afflicted and to practice the principles we just talked about in all of our affairs. Okay, so pray every day. You're doing a moral inventory every day. You're admitting when you're wrong. You're trying to make amends when you come across those people. And you're actually improving your own mental health in your head. You feel better. You sleep better. You're taking care of issues that used to bug you. And now, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, now you carry this message to other people who are afflicted and teach them how to practice these principles in all of their affairs. And it's so close to the Bible how this works. God actually took the code of life and gave it to Bill when he was writing the 12 steps. Because it's all incorporated with God. And each step has scripture that goes with it to back it up. The 12 steps of AA are actually God's code of life, the code and how to live it. And it should have been taught in school. But most people don't find this knowledge unless they go down that dark avenue and they wind up at rock bottom. And I'll tell you what, I'm glad that I was an alcoholic who died and hit rock bottom and continued to drink after being dead and revived. I still went back out, even though it killed me and I got resuscitated. I went back out and kept drinking. But with this and those steps, it's doable. It is everything. Anything is doable now. You can accomplish stuff now. You have tools. I am giving you tools to put in your very own toolbox. So when a situation arises, you can pull out a miracle tool and start performing spiritual surgery on the spot. You will now be armed and ready to do spiritual battle with yourself, with everybody else, and the world. Okay? So, some of you have worked the steps. That's good. I know most of the time you failed and you had to do it a second time, huh? But they're a code to live by. So it's not just alcoholics and drug addicts. It's actually it's a cool way to live. It is. It's stress-free. You can sleep at night. You know that there's a power greater than yourself. Because when you have those spiritual achievements, miracles start happening in your life and things start following you around in the sky. Okay. Let's pull up a different one now. That one's just so ominous. Let's go full screen there. Get the whole heart in there. Oh, it's too big. Back to that, I guess. All right. Yeah, that's better. Okay. So while you see me pulling over my shirt right there, I want you to know that I am the living one who sees you. I am more fully, gloriously alive than you can imagine. Someday you will see me face to face, and you will be awestruck. Because when you see me and the way I walk, and you can see raw pain on display, you will be awestruck. I'll just say, everywhere I go, I just see people's jaws wide open and gaping, looking at me, and I'll look over real quick and catch them doing that. But, yeah, when you meet me face to face, you will be awestruck. Now, though you see me through this screen like a glass, you like seeing through a glass darkly, your view of me is obscured by your fallen condition. So, nonetheless, I see you with perfect clarity, and you guys are starting to see me with more clarity now, aren't you? You're starting to hear me with more clarity, aren't you? Yeah. So, now, though you see through a glass darkly, your view of me is obscured by the fallen condition. Nonetheless, I see you perfect clarity. I know everything about you, including your most secret thoughts and feelings. I understand how broken and weak you are. I remember that you are dust, yet I chose to love you with everlasting love. The gift of my love was indescribably costly. I endured unspeakable suffering and still do to this day to save you from an eternity of agony. I became sin for you so that in me you might become the righteousness of God. You're going to be what? You guys are what? You guys are the righteousness of God. Ponder this wondrous truth, because it is. It's a truth. I became sin for you so that in me you might become the righteousness of God. Ponder that truth. My righteousness is now yours. You got that? You work them 12 steps, you get that spiritual awakening, my righteousness will then be yours. And then ponder that wondrous truth. See it for what it is. The gift of infinite value has been yours ever since you trusted me as the God-man who saved you from your sins. Rejoice that the living one who sees you perfectly is the Savior who loves you always. I am your ever-present help. Many people stumble out of bed in the morning and head straight for the coffee pot. Oh, I crack open a monster, so... Though they are not yet thinking clearly. Yeah, they're all scratching here, rubbing their butt. Well, all right. They are awake enough to move towards something that will help unscramble their thoughts. So, what's one of the things you're going to do in the morning? You're going to head straight for that coffee pot, but then you're going to unscramble your thoughts. I perform a similar function for you when your mind stumbles in my direction. So ask me to clear out the confusion so you can communicate deeply with me. You have this amazing capacity because I created you in my image. You're a human. I'm a human. You're created in my image. So in the mornings, it's like we're so on the go. It's grab the coffee pot, check the headlines, get the kids, grab lunch. There's no time in the morning. But if you just a little bit here, and then maybe a little bit more the next day, and then maybe the first thing when you get out of bed, I know it's hard, is thank you, God, for another day. That simple little prayer, thank you, Lord, for another day, is your recognition that that day was given to you by God and belongs to you to perform to God. So that simple little act in the morning of a thank you, Lord, for another day sets you on a good path. You're on a holy path for that entire day. And if you forget, that's okay. I got your back anyways. When it does come to mind, go, oh yeah, I forgot to do my morning thing. It's okay. You remembered now. Okay? So, as soon as all that stuff, put a cross next to the coffee pot. So when you go to the coffee pot to make the coffee in the morning, or put it next to the toilet, and we all have to go to the bathroom after 8 hours of sleep, so put a cross right there, or image or picture of Jesus or something. It helps your mornings. It helps your whole day. And I created you that way. So, as you wait in my presence, I not only unscramble your thoughts, I straighten your path through the day. You see, I'm sovereign over every aspect of your life. So opening up the way before you is no problem for me. Just, you need to initiate it. Okay? I am sovereign over every aspect of your life. So opening up the way before you is no problem for me. Some people assume they don't have time to begin their day with me. They don't realize how much I can facilitate their activities, removing obstacles and giving insights that save time and energy. You guys are buzzing around and it's like, oops, I'm back into the house. I forgot my car keys. Well, if you'd have slowed down and listened, I said, grab your hat, grab your gloves, grab the car keys. But you were too busy, too running, and you weren't going slow enough to hear me. So you got to slow down during the mornings and make them efficient instead of scrambling around. Just a few moments of time can save you hours later on in the day, okay? It really can. And sometimes it's the opposite way around. You forgot to do it, and now you are 2 hours behind on your entire day, and you are running around trying to make up time to catch up those 2 hours that you missed, right? So sometimes it's good opening up to start your day with a simple prayer or just simple recognition. People who assume they don't have time to begin their day with me, they don't realize how much I can facilitate their activities, removing obstacles, giving insights. And when you spend precious moments with me, I compensate you generously. I clarify your thinking, and I smooth out the circumstances of your life. I guess we can do that one. Glory in the holy name. Let the hearts of those who seek me rejoice. To glory in something is to give it praise or honor. So, Jesus is the name that is above all names. It represents me and all my sinless perfection. And as my follower, you can whisper, speak, or sing my name with confidence that I am listening. This draws you closer to me, and it helps you find strength. It helps you find strength in my presence, like this very moment. It also serves to drive away your spiritual enemies. I'm delighted that you take time to seek me, desiring to know me better. Come freely into my loving presence, letting your heart rejoice in me. Remember that you are on holy ground, and breathe in the rarefied air of my holiness. All your breaths now are rarefied air of my holiness now. So let your heart rejoice. You are on holy ground. You breathe the rarefied air of my holiness. So release your cares and your concerns while you rest in the splendor of my glory. Let my joyous presence envelop you, permeating you through and through. As you delight in my nearness, time seems to slow down, enhancing your enjoyment of me. So, thank me for these moments of sweet intimacy. Again, in the mornings, it's good to proclaim my love in the morning and my faithfulness at night. Okay, so you're proclaiming my love in the morning. It sets your day going on a good path. You're on a holy path for the rest of the day, breathing rarefied air. And then at night, my faithfulness. So it's good to proclaim. Remember in the mornings, okay, it's a rough morning, but Jesus loves me. And then at night, before you go to bed, thank God he's faithful, All right. Proclaiming that kind of love is exceedingly good for you. Do you understand how that works? When you proclaim this love, it's exceedingly good for you. When you declare the wonders of my loving presence, you are strengthened and you are encouraged. It's not for me, it's for you. When you declare the wonders of my loving presence, when you see this and you declare that that's real and that I'm talking to you, when you declare that, you are strengthened and you are encouraged, aren't you? You see, this glorious blessing flows into you the more fully as you speak these words out loud. Okay, so blessing for... Where's my drink? Blessings flow into you more fully as you speak the words out loud. It's important for your own ears to hear your own voice telling yourself this stuff. That's why it's important you speak these words out loud. Then let this delightful declaration fill you with joy inexpressible and full of glory, which was praise and honor and reverence. Okay, so this is a delightful declaration. It should be a delightful declaration. If it's not, then oh, maybe you got some more work to do. You might go work your steps a little more. So, you see me, you hear me. Let this delightful declaration fill you with the joy that's inexpressible and full of glory. Ponder some of the qualities of my amazing love. It is sacrificial, it is unfailing, it is priceless, it's boundless, it's reaching to the heavens, isn't it? It reaches to the heavens. Where do I have that part? It shines so brightly that it can carry you through your darkest days. See my forehead, so shiny? My chrome dome shines so brightly that it can carry you through your darkest days, right? So it got you laughing in your darkest days. You see my old chrome dome up there shining away? Yeah. It's sacrificial, it's unfailing, it's priceless, it's boundless, it's reaching to the heavens right next to the moon. It shines so brightly that it can carry you through your darkest days. So, when you get to the end of each day, it is time to proclaim my faithfulness that reaches to the skies. Look back over the day and notice how I helped you navigate your way through it. The more difficulties you encountered, the more I helped you, and the more help I made available to you. Because it was more difficult and you made it through it, so I offered more help, right? And you made it through, which is the end of the day. So the more difficulties you encountered, the more I helped and made the help available. And it's good to give voice to my great faithfulness, especially at night, so that you can lie down and sleep in peace. Yay, you get to sleep in peace. And your working steps. Oh, I'm so proud of you guys. You're really awesome. And truly a family, And to stick it out this long, 2 hours and 38 minutes for all this talking stuff and looking at one picture the whole time. Come on, Brian. Give us some more than that. So let's go look around, huh? Yay, look around, yay. Show some crazy stuff, Brian. This was interesting. Okay, so down below here is a city. It's a Hot Wheels city with little Hot Wheels and little McDonald's and a little racetrack. And I got kids. Well, they're kind of grown up now, but this was a few years back when all this stuff started happening. And I'm just sitting there praying and when I'm doing this, I can get the perspective from up above. When you're looking over a town, like the face up by the moon, looking down. And then you see and then here, I'm sitting there praying, and last words were victory, and I threw up my arms, and when I went to check, this V-shaped thing flying out of nowhere. Right at the camera. V for victory. Okay? You guys have victory already. The rarefied air. Take a nice deep breath of rarefied air. You're looking at an angel at the foot of my bed, taking a horn and half a crown of thorns off of my head and sending me what looks like a halo is actually a crown. So he removed the affliction with the one horn, half the halo affliction, and I wasn't too ready to have the crown yet, but he said, "No, no, no, that's yours. You take that back, put it on." Pretty cool stuff. If that was happening to you, nobody believed you. You'd just be losing your mind. Many of them. And it's funny because I'm not the one that's crazy. And you know how many people I helped when I went through those institutions? I helped every doctor. I helped every patient too. Interesting what happened here. I was sitting there praying, and some angel standing next to me swings his wing in between me and the camera. And, well, I disappear. Or it blocks it or something. But interesting. I just pray and record. That's all I'm doing. This is what I capture when I pray and record. This one was a little different. There's like something spits something on my neck and it bounces off and kind of flies at the camera. You can see something like a demon spitting something on my neck right there. And then there's that one where it moves the bike. We saw that. And then, oh, let's do this. Okay, now that we got you all nice and peaceful and calm, let's pull up a big old nasty demon face. All right, so not only is there the divine realm, oh, that's not the one I wanted, but that'll do. Oh, after an ad or what? Come on, yeah. Ooh, that's what I want. A little drone with a camera on it. Then you can fly right up to the cloud and say cheese. How many times does an ad have to jam up? Like 5 times to? Is that the minimum, the quota? 5 jams per ad? All right, there's my face again in the clouds right there. And then what was the other one I'm trying to get here? I could have swore I titled that differently. Yeah, it's in here somewhere. There it is right there. Okay. I know it's a little bit disturbing for some. That's my face as well. Okay. It's good to know that you're on my good side and that I love you. I feel bad for the people that hate me because they're going to have to answer to that. And you can see here another. This is our latest image. This was on May 3rd, just a few days ago, okay? Why is that not coming in pretty clear? All right. I've been to hell and back. I overcame hell, too. All right. It's a little different than everybody thought. It's not. It's a spiritual battle inside your head. And, well, I showed you the bisymmetry of the mind with the half side being evil and half being good. Much like God, you guys are little gods, knowing good from evil. You're supposed to, but knowing good from evil is whether to choose good or evil. You know, you have the capacity to know, but which do you choose? All right. So God is both Jesus and the devil all in one entity. Okay. He overcame the devil. He overcame that evil side of his mind. Okay. So he owns both realms. Satan is not in charge in hell. Satan is just a tool. God is in charge down there and in charge up in heaven too. Okay, so that's therein lies your spiritual warfare. Okay, are you going to be able to withstand the wiles of the devil and those crazy thoughts in your head? Are you going to have that good firm foundation and toolbox when problems come along, and you're going to be able to handle them well because you know that your adversity only makes you stronger. So you won't be freaking out. Everybody else will be freaking out, but you're just going to know it's part of your test. All right. So both realms are real. Okay. It's important that you know that. I don't like to give too much attention to this side. Okay. Because it's negative, it's evil, it's destructive, it's brings sorrow, a lot of sorrow and a lot of hurt and pain. All right. But it's important to know that that side exists as well. And this was over Italy, Potenza, Italy, the Catholic Church in Rome. Yeah. Yeah. I would want to get out of Italy if I were them. They probably didn't even see this. I'm wondering if the person who took this picture even saw it. I'm wondering if they're just looking at the cool colors in the clouds, or if they actually could make out that face, because much like that one, they're so big in the sky. Ooh, and with the coloration, of the sunset being incorporated, some people are just taking a picture of these clouds right here. They don't notice that once it goes up further into the sky, that it actually connects and makes a big face. Which would, the proportions to draw a three-dimensional face are very hard. Very, very hard. So to do it with clouds would be impossible. Well, except for the person who specializes in impossible. Okay, so I think that was about it for the show. Can you help me find when the close was here? That was our closer. Okay. No, and that goes into the next lesson. So, okay, I'm going to, one more time, just wrap it up with this last, repeating this last one more time with different inflection and with a sip also here. So, you've learned a lot tonight. You've seen a lot of miracles. You learned the steps. If you didn't get it, you could write them down, replay, and as I read them out, you could write them down. Or you can go get yourself a little 12-step book. They're cheap. They're all over the place. If you want to work your steps, you don't have to work them alcoholic or drug, or you can if that's how you choose. But we did the step work tonight, and you've seen a lot of miracles, and you've heard some good lessons. So, one more time. It's good to proclaim my love in the morning and my faithfulness at night. Proclaiming this love is exceedingly good for you. When you declare the wonders of my loving presence, you are strengthened and encouraged. This glorious blessing flows into you more fully as you speak these words out loud. Let this delightful declaration fill you with joy inexpressible and full of glory. Ponder some of the qualities of my amazing love. It's sacrificial, unfailing, priceless, boundless, reaching to the heavens. It shines so brightly that it can carry you through your darkest days. And when you get to the end of each day, it is time to proclaim my faithfulness that reaches to the skies. Look back over the day and notice how I helped you navigate your way through it. The more difficulties you encountered, the more help I made available to you. It is good to give voice to my great faithfulness, especially at night, so that you can lie down and sleep in peace. All right, that's it for tonight. I love you all. God bless you all. I miss you all. How could I miss you all? Why does he always say he misses us? Maybe because I already knew you from before, and it's been a long time since I've seen you. So I love you. I miss you. And until my next show, I will be back. I am already back, and you should be able to tell. The rest of the world is about to see me coming soon. Love you all. Bye.